Okay, welcome back. My apologies to the people viewing this on video. We had a little confusion with the agenda, and we actually started at 5:30. It is now 6:30. So let me just recap what we did in the rest of the public meeting. We approved minutes, meeting minutes. We approved the recycling ordinance. We tabled the building regulations one because we had some further questions. We approved the new driveway permit. We talked about the TAC appointment. It's going to be Dave Toth, and we're going to discuss that with Tim going forward. We ensured that we had election coverage. We still have a presentation by Hoyle Tanner, and so fortunately, we'll get that on tape. The library trustees were here, stating their interest in obtaining the Tri-County CAT building for the library again. We are going to include them in discussions on best use of that building for the town. We appointed Amanda Loud to the Conservation Commission. We appointed Kathleen DeWolf to the Heritage Commission, and we discussed an Eversource site access and entry agreement and rejected it. It needs to be reworked because it didn't quite address the things that we were concerned about. We approved a flag etiquette policy, and we discussed the shed on Mechanic Street. We were offered to purchase that from Andrew Lane, our Squam River Hydro, and for $100,000. We turned that down. And then we had a lengthy discussion about the electric department building and the soil testing report. We had gotten information from DES and the soil testers, and we had a number of questions and concerns. The electric department did not come, neither the commissioners nor the superintendent, so we were unable to resolve anything. We're going to hold an emergency meeting on Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Hopefully the electric commissioners and the superintendent, Conservation Commission, and the select board will all be here. It'll be at the fire station. We appointed Lee Sharps to the planning board with me as the alternate.
The union contract.
The union contract, it had been brought up that the electric department had requested to renegotiate it. We unanimously said we're not interested. We have a signed agreement that was approved by us, Water and Sewer, and unanimously approved by the union. So we declined to reopen the negotiations. Did I miss anything?
Say congratulations to you.
Okay. Now, I'm going to finish up a couple of small items before we get to Hoyle and Tanner, if that's okay.
Amanda's here.
I thought the meeting started at 6:30.
Amanda's here.
Yeah.
You might want to clarify.
It's
That she's all
confusing.
done.
You've already
You're
been
all
appointed,
done.
Amanda, don't
I'm
worry
all
about it.
done?
You're all
Congratulations.
done.
Congratulations.
You have to go to the town hall and get sworn in, but we approved your membership.
Thank you. And now, while somebody's coming, please put me on a committee, please.
We love it. We love it. I wish we need more of you.
I have two questions. that
Certainly.
I'm so sorry, because
No,
I
no,
really
no,
thought it was at 6:30.
Well,
supposed to
it
be
was a
was.
confusion. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Okay.
This has to do now with the 4th of July committee.
Yeah.
I have two questions. Number one, we're going to meet at the Booster Club. Our next meeting is this Monday, the 14th.
Okay.
How do I know the Booster Club will be open at 6 p.m. and how do I make sure it's locked when we leave at about 7:20?
I think you probably need to discuss that with Ann Barney.
I have
Yeah.
emailed Ann Barney and I haven't gotten a response.
Okay, Charlie, can you follow up with Ann sometime tomorrow?
Yeah,
And-
or you can
and-
stop and get the key tomorrow.
Yeah.
When I get sworn in. Well,
Okay.
maybe not tomorrow because that's the election.
Yeah, yeah.
Later this week.
Yeah,
Right,
just
okay.
come get the key.
Yeah.
Okay, now my second question, again, has to do with the Booster Club. There's a sandwich sign that in the past, there's a banner announcing our meeting on going to be that Monday. How do I utilize that sandwich sign and get the banner on it?
I
don't-
can answer that.
Okay, please do, because I
Yeah.
can't.
So on one side, I've already put in, what do you got, see, screw in their loop, what are they called? Help me.
Eye screws?
Yeah, I put those in, that should fit the exact size of the banner that we had printed, but I didn't do it on the other side, so we'll need to put the screws in, and you're just gonna use a zip tie to put them on, and a zip tie, just cut it off.
Okay, and the banner is some of the banners that I stored?
There's two banners, yes, they're the two banners that you have, they're in black and white, big, I think they're 36 by 30, 42 by 42, I think
Okay,
they are.
and the sandwich board is where?
It's right outside.
So it's out there
It's
already?
right, it sits
for
out there
me?
already, yes, it's sitting
Okay.
right there. And the one thing that's usually up are the promo signs for after-school program or for summer camp. So you just have to confirm that we can cover them for a short time while you're announcing each week once a month or once every couple months that you're having a meeting.
Okay, so I'll try to contact Ann again. I hope I had the right email because I don't get a response, which makes me wonder if I got the right email.
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm late.
Thank you.
That's quite all right. One more piece of business before we get to Hoyle Tanner. I'm sure many of you know there was a letter to the editor by the town trustees, and we have crafted a response. I don't know if we're going to submit it formally, but I want to read it to the public. This is a response to the letter to the editor submitted by the Ashland Town trustees regarding Ashland Select Board decisions regarding Ashland Electric Building and a new garage and purchasing a flagpole given to the town. The comments made in a letter to the Ashland Selectmen and then submitted to local papers as editorials referred to, quote, insane decisions, unquote, made by the board regarding allowing and accepting a flagpole from the electric department and allowing them to build a garage on town property. Some of the comments stated in the letter are simply not factual. The selectmen verified through multiple sources of legal counsel, both before and during construction, that we did act within the scope of our authority and responsibility. We communicated that to the trustees when we received a draft of the editorial. Furthermore, we held a public hearing on the building proposal before approval. There were no objections raised at that hearing. We went through due diligence in making those decisions to try to ensure all reasonable steps in the process were followed. There are some legitimate questions raised in the letter, but many are questions that should more appropriately be directed to the commissioners of the Ashland Electric Department as the governing body of that enterprise, which operates on a much different governing structure and guidelines from the selectmen. Every citizen has the right to state their opinion in most any form they prefer, but opinion is not fact. We should try to work constructively and professionally in stating opinions and discussing possible solutions. We have and will continue to govern within the scope and authority we are given for the benefit of the taxpayers and residents of which we are members.
Nice.
And I do have copies
Nice.
for all of the select board and Charlie and Pat if you
Good
want
job.
to attach that to the minutes.
Thank you, that was
Well,
good job.
my thanks to Steve too for,
And Steve.
I have a copy. Okay. Now, I would like to introduce Hoyle and Tanner, and we'd like to hear what you have to say. And this has to do with the work that's been done on Thompson Street and Smith Hill Road, et cetera, on the engineering study.
Good evening, my name is Bill Davidson. Sean Toby also from Hoyle and Tanner. I have some plans, we sent some emails, but I have hard copies for everybody.
Great.
And these are the 60% design plans that we have.
Nice.
I can share.
There we go.
Eli, do you need one?
There's two more here if anybody can help. Hey. So I'll pass out everything that I have right now, just so we can get going. I also have a copy of the roadway maintenance permit for the wetlands
Okay.
that is going to get submitted this week. That's a copy for you.
Thank you.
You guys are conservation.
Yes.
Yep, so there's a copy for you.
Thank you very much.
Yep. And I had, at the end of the day, I had Marisa send out an estimate, so I don't know if everybody got
Yes.
that in an email.
I saw it in the email.
Okay. So just to go through a little bit about where we are. We're at the 60% design level. We moved forward quite a bit from last time we were here, it was on 30%. We have everything, the roadway graded in, the dishes, the drainage, the sewer. Sean can go through all of that and explain where we are with that. And then after he goes through that, I can go through the estimate a little bit and where we are with that and some of the things that we've built into the estimate, and hopefully in an effort to reduce some costs.
So as Bill mentioned, these are the 60% plans We're probably actually a little further along than 60%. We put some pretty good thought and detail into the water design, sewer design, drainage. And since the last meeting, we've met with Eli, Tim as well, and Rusty, and we've walked the site. We've gone through some of the, fine details of what we want for water, sewer, and those aspects. So I guess I can start probably with the water first. We're going to replace the water starting from the work that was done in 1998. So we'll continue new water lines throughout the project down to River Street. The existing water, we assume will be in good condition. It was, it's less than 20 years old. It's ductile iron pipe. So that still should be in very good shape. And then we also talked about using plastic pipe, which is going to be a significant cost reduction. And that's something that Eli and Rusty were on board with. The lifespan of that pipe is very good, and you'll get the same performance and a significant reduction in cost. We'll replace the existing hydrants. We'll add a few water valves for, in case there's a break, they can shut down and isolate certain places. And we'll also replace the water services and the curb stops to the houses. I think that's pretty much in line with what we discussed last meeting. And it's good to always do that before we repave a road. You don't want to have to go back in afterwards and cut, anything under the pavement. You want to have solid before you pave. As far as the sewer goes, we thought the sewer had been reconstructed in '98, but since then we had the sewer televised. Company came out, what they do is they run a camera through the pipes and then they give us a report if there's a break, if there's water infiltration. And it actually turns out that a lot of the existing pipe was still in place, and it has multiple patches, so it'll go from clay pipe to PVC to clay. So it was kind of a big mix up of pipe under there. So I mean, it's working, it's flowing, but in our meeting with Eli, we've decided that it's going to be in the best interest to replace the pipe between those manholes. The manholes were replaced in '98, I believe. They look to be in good shape. So if we just run new pipe from manhole to manhole, reconstruct it, that's probably going to be the best option. And there's no sense redoing the manholes. Probably replace the covers on the top where they, corroded or whatever, but we can leave the manholes in place. Then as far as the drainage for the project, we've sized all the pipes. So we've modeled the stormwater coming down the hill, determined the correct pipe sizes, for the 25-year storm, so that nothing will overtop the road. And the only place we've really kind of changed, well, I guess we've upsized most of the pipes going through the project with the exception of the existing drainage closer to Main Street. A lot of that drainage is adequately sized, and we can just leave that in place, and that will save on a lot of money as well. Going up Smith Hill Road, that's probably the biggest area of concern that we had going into it. I know you had some issues with that. And what we've done is we've pitched the road to both sides, and we've run bituminous berm, like curbing up that street. So we'll get the water into the pipes, and then as we get to the bottom, the pipes will level out, and we'll discharge into like a vegetated swale, kind of like a settling area with some riprap, and maybe even get into doing some plantings, maybe blueberry bushes or certain vegetation that'll try to take out some of the pollutants before it goes back under Thompson Street and down the hill. So if we can slow it down to prevent erosion going down the hill, as well as try to get as much treatment as we can with that limited space, that's our intent there.
Okay.
And then as far as the road design, we're going to try to match the existing vertical grades as much as we can. It'll reduce the cost as far as bringing in new materials, and we had talked about before reclaiming the pavement, and then so we can use that and grind it out, spread it out, and then pave on top of that. That'll provide a solid base. And then I think the last thing with the drainage, we're looking at putting an uphill side ditch. So coming off the pavement, it'll drop down like 1.5 feet and then come back up. So any water coming down the hill will get caught in the ditch, drain out, won't go under the road and freeze, causing the pavement to crack and heave. One thing with the ditch, a lot of the existing telephone poles kind of fall in the middle of that ditch line, so there'll be a pole right in the middle. So we had started discussions with the electric about possibly, relocating some of those poles, and I think they seem to be receptive of that option. And the other thing with the ditch is there may be some tree cutting in order to get the ditch shaped in and then tied back into the slope. So we're gonna look at that more closely as far as, you know, if there's a nice tree there, we don't wanna go cut the tree down just for a ditch. So we'll try to look at those options as we move forward towards the 95% design. And from this, we compiled an estimate that Bill can talk about. What we did is we took each item based on standard NHDOT items, so, you know, pavement is an item, pipe, head walls, and we put cost to it based on other jobs that we've done in the last year that we've got for numbers, as well as DOT takes all the jobs they do and they'll, you know, quantify those and they'll take an average of the numbers. So Bill can probably explain that estimate, where we're at with that.
Yeah, so just to talk about the ditches a little bit more, so we have graded that out. We did talk with Lee. Obviously, you guys want to talk to him, so we'll wait until after you talk to him. But
Definitely talked to him before.
it's not the greatest to have a utility pole in the center of the ditch. You see them in lots of places, but it catches debris, things like that. So if we can move those off a little bit to the side and get them in the slope, that would be the better way to do it.
Approximately how many are we talking about?
What's that?
Approximately how many are we talking about?
There's quite a few. We marked them up on a plan. I think if we were to move them all, I think there's about 20 of them. It's possible that we may be able to look at each individual one, and depending on, we've done a lot of relocation before, and it's not just as easy as moving one pole, because they're all in tension, and some are
Right.
king poles.
Right.
So there's a little bit to it, but that's what we're trying to talk to Lee about and see what we can do. And maybe there's some that we can't move, and we'll have to try to do something else. We've rated the back slope on the ditch. There'll be some tree removal for that. I think most of it is in the right of way. There may be a couple areas that we can fine tune and figure out if we do need easements, and we can help the town approach those people and things like that. So to get to the estimate, what we do, this is, so when this gets put out to bid, it'll be on unit prices. So what DOT does is they have item numbers for each individual item, and you have bituminous pavement, and it's 403.11. And they put a number to that, and they go and they buy it from Pike, and it's $85 a ton, and that's how they bid out there. We give them the quantities in the bid, and then they go through and put their prices to it. So it's basically a nuts and bolts list of everything that's in your project, and granted, it's 60%, so it's gonna get tuned in and cleaned up some, but for the most part, we have every item that's needed for this project in this estimate. So it's a fairly, to us, it's not a large number because we do a lot of this work, but I mean, I
us, it's
imagine it's a
huge.
big number, right?
It's
So
huge.
that's kind of what I was trying
Yeah.
to say. Now, keep in mind, at this level, at a 60% level, probably up to 75% level, we'll leave a 15% contingency in there. And that'll allow for if something got missed in here, if we find out that we're doing some drainage and we have to do something else a little bit, it gives a little bit of a cushion, and that's what's built into this estimate. Once we get in and do the final engineer's estimate, it's usually down at 10%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but 15% contingency is over $250,000. So it's something that's real.
Yeah.
So by all means, if anybody, I don't know if anybody's had a chance to look at the plans we sent last week, or,
No.
there's a fair amount to look at.
I have a question about tree cutting. You mentioned tree cutting.
Yep.
I know at the top of Smith Hill, there are some trees that are very close to the pavement. Do those cause concerns? I mean, because the roots can run under the pavement and cause disruption.
Yeah, and in areas like that, we would have a ditch up there as well.
Okay.
So wherever we would grade down with the ditch and tie back in, we would cut those back. So
Okay.
that would, probably 6 or 8 feet back.
Okay. We've tried to take them down before, but they're owned by an individual, and she's refused to let us take them down, so, we need to.
Well, that's the other thing, the seam in the pavement. I think I know some of the pines that you're talking about, that when it goes up the hill, turns to the
Yeah.
right, and then it flattens off.
Yeah.
Is that in the same area where the seam is, in the pavement?
It's close.
It's
Yeah.
very close to the
Okay.
seam, yeah.
Okay. So we can look at that, but yeah,
Okay.
typically we would like to remove those if possible.
Okay.
And we can certainly help someone with the town talk to them if that's,
Now, this price list that you gave us, you talked about several cost-cutting measures, like, grinding the pavement and so forth, and plastic piping. Is that reflected in here, or is this the Cadillac version?
No, I wouldn't call it the Cadillac version, but
Probably more the middle of the line.
Okay.
Version.
Okay,
If you go with the ductile pipe, the iron pipe, that's gonna raise it. All the curb, we did the asphalt curb versus granite,
Yeah.
that'll significantly increase the price.
uh-huh,
we do have like we do have brand-new guardrails in places. That's probably $12,000. There is a couple other areas that we can probably change some things
Okay.
and try to save some money.
okay.
I think as we refine it and get further along, it will most likely go down versus go up.
Well, that's the hope. But you understand we have a time pressure, because if it's a bond, undoubtedly will be, we have to get it before the voters. And we have what is the drop dead date for these?
January 17th, I believe.
Okay, so we don't have a whole lot of time, and we
We got
need
like
to
2
do some
months.
research about, bond banks and whatnot, so
Sure.
a lot of
So
work to do.
We are on track with what we were planning on doing by the end of this year, to have everything completely done, have our bid documents ready, all that, at the end of this year. So prior to that, we'll have a good number and be able to say, okay, this 1.9, it's 1.85, whatever. We'll be
Okay.
able to give you a good number that you can move forward, and it's going to be very close to what we're.
And at some point, might we have a discussion about splitting this project? I know that was an option we had considered if we couldn't
Yep,
afford the whole thing.
Absolutely, we'll figure out a
Okay.
good way. Now, there was another thing that we had talked about with the water and sewer, is breaking out portions, if I remember correctly, breaking out portions of, this is the actual, what it would cost for water construction, and this is what it would be for sewer construction. 'Cause I guess, my guess was that's a different bucket, or.
We're different, while we will be doing this program in concert, we're two different management sources. So water and sewer wants to know what it's gonna cost them, because we're writing the check for that.
So let me ask you this, so the sewer's pretty easy because that's on one side.
Yeah.
If this was broken up, and let's say we just cut it in half, let's say we cut it in half at Smith Hill, and one half in the other half, would you want the water to continue through in the first phase, to continue through and connect all the way through and be done with the water?
I'm not we'd have to discuss that.
We can look at we can give you a price to do,
Yeah,
how much it would
because
cost.
I'm not sure that we want to, if we do it in a phased project, I'm not sure we want to tear up the road twice.
And then patch, yeah. And that's easy enough too. I was just wondering if you'd want to get that all done at one time. So it would be easy enough to wherever we terminate, we're going to be pretty much in the same trench. We'll just tag back onto the existing and leave that.
I'm assuming Smith Hill would have to be in the first phase, given
Yeah,
the
Smith-
drainage issues.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend that. That's,
Okay,
if you want to call any area that you have as a problem, that would be it.
we know. Some of us know what.
So the maintenance permit, we put that together, that's gonna go out this week, you have a copy. It's-
Okay.
It's required when we file this, that we give a copy to the Conservation Commission and the
Yep.
Selectmen.
Okay,
So we've done that, so
Okay.
we're planning on filing that. And then moving forward with the 95% and keep going, and we should, it looks like it's gonna be right at the end of December. We'll be, if everything keeps going the way that
Okay.
it is, we're gonna be right there.
okay, fantastic.
So,
Thank
You guys
you.
have any questions for us?
What do you mean by right at the end of December? Specific date?
What's the last day in December?
31st.
Because I don't know, that might be too close for me.
Okay. We will get it to you, we'll be done by Christmas time. Does that work?
That's
Or does
better.
it need to be more than that?
Because I think we have January 10th, I think. is the
Or
day. We have to have the public
A
hearing.
public hearing, yeah, that's it, we need to schedule a public hearing.
That's right.
So 23rd.
Well, should we schedule the public hearing regardless, knowing that we're going to do this?
Well, if you're gonna go to bond and put it on the article, you
Right.
have to have a public hearing.
Right.
Certain days before, and I think it's the 17th is the date you have to have the public hearing. I don't have it with me, it's either the 10th or the 17th.
Right. So I mean,
14th or 17th, but either way, December 31st leaves us with like a week
Yeah, we
To
can.
call the
we
meeting
can-
or to
We
what?
can discuss
to get,
posting a
Well,
public
let's have-
hearing.
Let me ask you this, so what you need for that basically is the number, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the number we can get to you sooner.
Right.
We're still gonna be cleaning up
Yeah.
Okay.
plans and specs.
Understood.
yeah?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. So why don't we shoot for like the second week in December?
Okay.
We'll get you a number that you can run with. and-
yeah, thank you.
schedule
And when
and
you,
stuff.
when you get that number, it'll be the number, but also the other option was if we break it into two pieces.
Yeah, we need a couple of options to
What's that
look
gonna look
at.
like? Just so we can decide whether that makes sense or not.
What we'll do is, so once we get the numbers and everything, it'll be easy enough for us to, we'll still have to do some work, but we'll break it somewhere that makes sense. And then we'll give it to you guys at the town and see if it makes sense to you guys where we broke it and how we're
Okay.
doing that and what the number is.
Okay.
And then we'll do the same thing, we'll break it with the water and the sewer. And then we can go back and forth from there.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Charlie, would you
Thank you.
hold on to
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
And if the selectmen want to look at it, it's going to be available, just,
The
okay.
rest of this.
All right, are there any other items that we need to discuss before we go to public comments? All right, in that case, I open it up to the public.
Brandon, real quick,
Yes.
Clarification notice officer.
Yeah.
We got the plans, we started our review.
Okay.
We'll have comments from the town.
Okay.
We can submit HGA too, if that's okay with you guys.
That's fantastic.
Probably
Thank you,
early
Brett.
next week. And we can just have a verbal policy. Yep, perfect.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yep.
Any other comments? Okay, in that case, I'd like a motion to go into non-public pursuant to RSA 91A, 3, Roman numeral 2, small letter A.
I'll make that motion. Go into non-public RSA
No one yet?
2:A.
I'll second that.
Hold up, we got public comment.
Oh,
Oh,
Sorry.
Yes, I want to emphasize how important this document is from DES. Like Katie said, the clock is ticking.
we understand
Right
that.
now, we don't have, I mean, the Select Board, the Conservation Commission, have no idea if anything has been put into place to manage any of the disturbance that's been going on.
Right. Yes, thank you for emphasizing that. I think we're all aware of it, and we'll do our very best to get this
You
thing.
know, and I'd like the public to know,
Yep.
this
Yes.
is very serious.
It is very serious, and we
is.
absolutely need answers.
Any of the workers that handled any of this material probably went home, their wives or whoever, threw their clothes in with the laundry, rest of the laundry, they tracked the material in the house.
Yep.
They could have had it on their
Yeah.
vehicles. There could be issues down the road, we don't know.
Yep.
That's why everything has to be handled, even before the report was published. Yes, it could be problematic to everybody's health and safety.
Yep.
And anyone going into that building could be exposed to anything that was floating in the air, especially when those creosote logs were first being handled, because they were just, Steve and Katie and Harold and I, we saw how they were being handled, and it was awful. And I was really concerned for the workers' safety,
Okay,
and it didn't seem to be taken seriously.
okay.
So I'd like just to make that a public statement
Okay.
that as a member of the Conservation Commission, I'm not only concerned about the knotweed issue, which we have not gotten any answers to, but the general health and
Yep.
safety for anyone that goes, that access that area at the
Yep.
time. They had absolutely no idea probably what was going on
Right.
and what was being exposed.
Right. Thank you for that comment, Kathleen. Okay, let's see, Lee made a motion to go into non-public, Steve seconded it.
yes,
Katie,
yes.
Yes,
Harold,
sorry.